And then the diet from the Africans was also like root vegetables and a lot of fried food. Plantains, cooked in very, very different ways. So they would take like green plantains. You can cook a green plantain. They would mash it and make like this thick, doughy consistency, and they would you can stuff it with meat or beef or fish or whatever you want, and then they seal that and deep fry it. And it tastes great. It sounds so good. That's called an alcapurria. And there's so many ways that we make food with plantains. So plantains is a staple. Okay. And rice and beans, even though rice does not grow, I mean, it does grow in Puerto Rico, but most of the rice is not grown in Puerto Rico. Like, it's shipped in from God knows where, from other places.
Knows? I don't know where it comes from.
We do grow... we do grow a lot of plantains, a lot of tropical fruits, coconuts, a lot of coconuts-based drinks. The pina colada is originally from Puerto Rico.
Oh, that's a good claim to fame.
Yeah, true.
What else is from Puerto Rico?
What would be a perfect meal if you were like go home, mom's cooking? Like, what would be a meal that?
Oh, there's two. There's one called pastelón, and it is green plantains. And you have to take it when it's, or you use them for this dish when they're like black almost, like when it's looking like, oh, I need to throw that out. That's when has the most sugar, and it's really good for this particular dish. So you take ground beef and you cook it. You season it with salt, pepper, add some olives. In Puerto Rico we use a lot of olives, which I don't find a lot here. I find in Trader Joe's the ones that have pits, but we have the ones that don't have pits, and they're like in a glass jar sitting in like this water with some pepper bits, bell pepper things. And so you cook the ground beef, and then you take the plantains and you cut them long ways. And you take green beans also, and you layer the plantains, sweet plantains, on top of the ground beef, and layer some green beans, and then another layer of ground beef. So it's like a casserole, is that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You layer it each, and then you also add cheese on top. Oh. And then you bake that. I'm not exactly sure if I might be missing some parts in there because I'm not very good at cooking. It tastes great.
It's like sweet and savory.
Yes. Yep. So that's one. It's called pastelón. Arroz con habichuelas, rice and beans. I love it when it's on the side, like just white rice and the beans, like in a stew with. We cook the beans with. We call it pumpkin calabaza, but it's actually, I think, because there's so many different kinds of pumpkins.
Like squash.
So I think maybe it's a pumpkin, but it looks like a squash. So it's like, your traditional orange Halloween pumpkin. So it's not orange. It's green and spotty, and it's like if you would squish it down. So it's like that, and it's just like spotty. And they grow everywhere. They grow in my backyard, and we use them a lot in cooking. And what else? Oh, recao. That's another thing that it's going to be hard for me to find here. So it gives the beans a really good flavor, and it grows like a weed. I think it may be a weed, but it's really good. And it's called culantro, and it's kind of like cilantro, but it's not. But I guess that's the closest thing you would
find.
I can that you could relate to, like picture.
So do you have trouble finding things like to cook? If you're cooking here, like, do you have trouble finding ingredients that you need to cook meals, traditional meals that you enjoy in Puerto Rico here in the U.S.?
Yeah. So particular things like that.
Like the olives and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's just there's a lot of diversity here. Like, I've seen so many different vegetables and things that I don't know what they are here, and that's really cool. But the ones that I use in particular, sometimes I can't find, or are just very exotic, and it becomes expensive because it's exotic here.
Yeah, right.
When it's like actually really cheap over there, and it's it's like the basic necessities type of thing.
So how do you eat different now than when you did when you lived in Puerto Rico?
I guess those things. I don't eat as much meat. I think I ate a lot of meat in Puerto Rico, way more, but it was because of where I was working. So on a lot of the day trips, we would have a meal at the end of the trip, and it had to be, because people want to go to Puerto Rico to experience the culture. So it had to be a cultural dish. So it would be rice and beans and maybe pork or like a beef stew, or chicken cooked in a Puerto Rican way, usually like in a stew with like all those ingredients that I mentioned. And I love it, but it's also I wasn't very happy about my diet over there because it was very high in salt, it was very high in fat, like a lot of rice is just a lot of sugar also, but it tastes great. Tostones, I miss those. But the tostones were like these green fried plantains that get smashed and fried.
Yum.
They taste great. So my diet here has changed. Like, what do I eat now? I don't know. I try to eat healthy, but I eat a lot of food in general. Because I'm not as active. I'm working, just driving home.